Welcome to Authentic with Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201, and I'm here to talk about first, is Mitch McConnell dead? And what the hell is going on in Maine and Michigan? Because it's been an interesting 3 weeks, right? We're a week before we're allowed to talk about the Odyssey. I've seen the Odyssey once already. I'm seeing it again Monday, and then I'm going to see it again the Thursday it comes out. I've seen it I've seen it twice in the Lincoln Square, AMC IMAX. Fantastic movie, right? I believe that's all I'm allowed to talk about that movie right now. I kinda had a tweet that went viral that I think almost everyone in that movie deserves an Oscar nomination, and we'll get into the Odyssey shit next Thursday, the 16th. But before we get into all of this, let's go through the political world because I haven't really talked politics in a while. I think maybe the last video was when that crazy lady won in New York. But it's interesting. Mallory McMorrow, who was my preferred candidate in Michigan. Listen, first of all, let me give this. If you're an attractive woman, that is my political North Star, which is why I like Flanagan and McMorrow. Okay. I know, very misogynistic of me. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. But obviously, Liz Smith runs horrible campaigns, and the Mallory McMorrow campaign was basically Liz Smith's proto Pete Buttigieg 2028 campaign. By the way, Liz Smith's other Senate candidate is going to lose by 30 or 40 points to Penny Flanagan in Minnesota. So maybe Liz Smith isn't the political genius she thinks she is because she thinks she can get a gay man elected who has 0% of the black vote. But hey, she's running 2012 style campaigns in 2026 and 2028 because in Michigan, we have the two candidates left now, a very establishment woman who is now on Ozempic, I think, because she seems to be smaller than she was before. Haley Stevens, who sounds like Lois Griffin from Family Guy. Look, I would never vote for Abdullah Syed, so I would vote for Stevens. I also think El Sayed will lose a general because yes, because he is Muslim, and I think there's just a penalty for that. It's the same reason why Vivek is going to lose in Ohio, because swing white voters aren't going to vote for Hindu Indian. Sometimes politics is that simple. Okay, I just think if just like there's for women presidential candidates, there's probably a 2 to 3% vote penalty for being a woman. And probably like 5 or 6% if it was a gay woman, you know. Right, but I like these are just, like, realistic things of the country people just need to accept. Stop trying to, like, pretend they're better. But but, look, allegedly, a poll came out that they're statistically tied. Messiah is getting people who never vote for her to vote for him, but maybe enough people rally around to evens. I think whoever wins, wins by 2%. I think Saeed's crazy, but, who knows? DNC Oppo research hasn't come out yet because as we saw in Maine, which we're going to jump into, if Chuck Schumer really wants you out, he'll get you out. So now let's go to Maine. And look, I liked Plattner. I personally Plattner and I think Tallarico are a great sum of the men problem in the Democratic Party, where basically all of the men are HR lady politics and soy boys, which is why you have Pete Buttigieg and you have Ken Martin, etc. You don't get any cool, normal finance guys or Barstool people or whatever, normal guys at all in Democratic Party. You just have fucking soy boys who wear tote bags and are vegan, right? And guess what? A college educated electorate and black women is not enough to win a presidential election. That's just a fact of the matter is, and I get it, Plattner wasn't really working class, he was a trust fund kid or whatever, but he looked working class. This is the Fetterman thing, right? He looked cool, and I know people are like, "Well, Ossoff," right? I still think there's this whole anti-Jew problem in both parties right now, different versions of anti-Semitism in both the Democratic and Republican Party, okay? And look, I'm totally get it, don't fund Israel or whatever, but I think there's people on the left who are like, "You need to love Palestine," and all this other nonsense. I don't think that's necessary. I think you just be like, "Don't fund Israel," but I also don't give a shit about Palestine. I think that's probably the general consensus, right? But, people are suddenly on the far left are like, "You need to dedicate your life to Palestine," when in reality, nobody can locate these countries on the map. But hey, we love performative activism. But this is why I don't think Shapiro or Ossoff could do it. A woman can't win, but, whatever. Gavin Newsom is a fucking clown. And AOC should run for Senate, not president, okay, because that is her seat, and it would be hilarious to see, like, AOC blow out Andrew Cuomo or Dan Goldman or whoever is going to be the non-AOC Democrat in the 2028 year primary for Senate. But the main thing, right? So the sexual assault allegations, I guess again, rape allegations came out, and it's just funny, not funny. Rape, not funny, but it is similar to like when the Swalwell stuff started leaking out, the normal mainstream Democratic consultants were like, it's just leftist activists who are mad that Tom Steyer isn't in the lead and ignore it, blah, blah, blah. And then like all these things came out. And then suddenly they shut it up, and now the inverse is happening with, like, the leftist activists and the normal mainstream consultants are like, "See, you didn't believe us," but, like, Eric Swalwell stuff was apparently happening for, like, a decade in office, right? That it was such an open secret, so I really don't think those people should be, like, whatever with it. Now look, I am a college-educated person. That tattoo Plattner has, I had no idea what the fuck that was. I thought that was a One Piece tattoo. Okay, but then again, I also just recently learned from the Odyssey, the Battle of Troy did not really happen. I thought the whole Troy thing was real. I knew the Cyclops element of all that was fake, but I thought the Battle of Troy was like a historical accurate thing. Apparently, did not really happen. So, jokes on me on that part. But the Plattner situation, right? Is the Democratic establishment still refuses to admit that running an 80-year-old woman close to death wasn't a good idea, despite a 2024 election that showed nobody wanted the then 79-year-old with stage 4 cancer old man close to his death. Because I'm sure, as we learned with all the people in the 2026 primary cycle who are over 68 who have lost primaries, people love hospice age candidates who grew up in the silent films, right? But, the Democrat it's gonna be interesting what rules I bet the DNC tries to do for the 2028 presidential cycle, because we're already seeing it right now is that the debates, because I don't know if you know this, but the only people who think MSNBC matter are people who work at MSNBC, but the viewership, right, at CNN, MSNBC, CBS, all these are basically not even half of what, like, an episode of Joe Rogan or Pod Save or Flagrant or Tucker or Ben Shapiro, whatever, hey, then maybe the debate format has to change, you know? Maybe, Breaking Point should host a debate. Maybe the Pod Save losers get big. And I know there's this issue that it's very likely that some of the because we're seeing with various races all across America is that the hiring of the influencers via LLCs or whatever to talk shit about a candidate or pay a candidate or whatever the fuck is gonna happen in 2028 was like, "You pay me or I'm just gonna attack your candidacy nonstop," right? By the way, I would like to say, someone who's probably gonna run for president in 2028, I would also love some dark money to just shit talk candidates because I do that for free. Okay, because 'Cause I'll shit talk anyone, any candidate, okay? Because listen, my North Star is you gotta be hot, you gotta be under 70, you gotta believe in Ozempic for all, okay? That's my platform for presidency. Can't wait till, like, whoever the fuck clips this in 2027 or whenever the presidency shit. Like, how dare you talk about whatever bullshit, blah, blah, blah. But, um it is interesting, yes, Plattner should drop out, but also, like, it's as if Plattner wants to just keep the money, just change your candidacy that you're running for president and you get to keep the money. It's not our fault the FEC rules are so fucking stupid that Plattner just says he's now a candidate for presidency and that he has to keep the $20 million or whatever the fuck is in that bank account, okay? Should he drop out? Yes. Okay, I'm kind of also enjoying this beef between the Katzes, Mort Katz and Rebecca Katz against Liz Smith. Because despite everything, Liz Smith, guess what? Your candidates are fucking losing to the Katz's candidates, okay? And Mallory McMorrow didn't even make it to the fucking election, and Angie Craig's gonna lose by 30 to Penny Flanagan. And I don't think Angie Craig is going to get appointed to the then Klobuchar seat. So you're not the political genius, but you also think the gay man can fucking win the presidency in America in 2028 when the normal person's like a woman or a gay ain't winning. Okay? But hey, listen, believe in the America you think exists and not the America that does exist. Because as we all saw, that clearly worked. Fucking soul of the nation nonsense. By the way, I kind of want to read an interesting thing from what is it, the middle, the deciding to win people. They wrote an interesting thing on 17 Thoughts of Graham Plattner. And that there was an interesting excerpt here with the moderates. Where the fuck is this? Where is it? Oh, moderates are typically risk averse, slow to use leverage, and is costing us not only our faction, but our party and our country, right? And that 5 years, the inverse is true. We need to take more risks to match the arsonists in the tent. And but he seems to be mad that another risk taker will probably be presidency. Yes, a risk taker back in the classroom person should be president. Nobody wants these lame save it candidates because I forgot. I think the Bulwark wrote something about this between the Haley Stevens and the El Said campaigns. El Said is the burn it all down candidate, right? And Haley Stevens is the safe establishment candidate. Now, I would choose not Sayed, I would choose Stevens because not because she's the establishment, just because I hate Sayed, but I do want burn it all down candidates. That is what I want, which is why Mallory didn't take off because Mallory tried to be like, let's burn some things down and let's keep some things. No, burn it all to the ground because what else? There's a tweet I have that I'm looking for that I think what is his name? Tom Moskowitz, who ran in New Jersey and lost because AIPAC, like, fucked with the election to, like, prove a point that you shouldn't cross Israel, except the anti-Israel chick won the election because AIPAC is just, doing the nonsense, and yes, AIPAC is bad and blah, 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 blah. Where is this tweet? I'm sorry, I will find it. I know this is not good content, and I'm just vamping. By the way, everyone should see the invite. Du 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 Oh, yeah, there's another thing. Trump did a thing that he denied disaster aid from the snowstorms to New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. I think the next Democrat president should probably do the same. Deny Republican emergency state aid and only do Democrat state aid. Just make it the new normal. Okay, if you're a Democrat president, only govern for Democratic states. If you're a Republican president, only govern. That's basically where we are, and I don't really see a problem with that. Oh, where the fuck is this tweet? God damn it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Tom Maliskin wrote, "Instead, we have leaders mimicking the MAGA argument that our government of elected public servants are useless and corrupt, and that only pure out outsiders can smash the evil system to pieces." He says that's not only wrong, it's a game we'll never beat the populist far right at. Um, I say, but all public servants, Democrats or Republicans, are useless and corrupt, though. That's just the truth. Okay, if that's just the fact, okay? I don't really care. I don't really believe these people who pretend to be good people are good people. No one is a good person, okay? Maybe this is the New Yorker in me, but as I saw with the World Cup people, as they've been in America now for 4 or 5 weeks, they've kind of had the cynicism of, like, Americanism, like, go into them. They're no longer happy people. They're just kind of, like, low key miserable, and it's just like, okay. Okay, just kinda like I don't believe most marriages will last. Look, Margaret Qualley got divorced with Jack Ackenoff in 3 years. Like I said, statistically, if you get married before 30, your marriage has a 70% failure rate, as most marriages just in general just have an over 50% failure rate. That's just what it is, okay? But yeah, Patrick Dempsey should do the Senate seat, and then, um in 20 what is it? What is it, 2030, Noah Wiley can run for the against the Republican in the Pennsylvania Senate seat, or Josh Shapiro can if Josh Shapiro isn't vice president or president yet. But yeah, that's my choice. Go Patrick Dempsey from Maine. Okay? There we go. Or the guy who owns the beer place. But fuck Matt Iglesias. Oh, I also forgot. Yo, Mitch McConnell allegedly maybe is probably brain dead. For at least 3 weeks because everyone got the same phone call that like, "Hey, well, I talked to Mitch McConnell for 20 minutes," and it's kinda sounding like how Biden's sharp in private, okay, when we all know that. I assume Mitch McConnell is probably brain dead, right? He's 84 years old, and once again, this goes into the whole thing is stop electing people over fucking 70 into office because 'cause you're probably more likely than not to be dead within the next 2 years. And I get it, Mitch McConnell was, like, elected in the '80s, and, he wasn't even running for the next cycle or whatever. But this is the thing. He's probably dead and or brain dead, whatever. His wife is in China, I guess, trying to get some deals done while McConnell's still alive, quote unquote alive. I think he's probably dead. Just like the dude in Jersey who disappeared for like sucking 7 months. He's like, I have depression. That's not real. You don't go to the hospital for 8 months with depression. Okay? Loser.